Like I've never seen a team lose and so much like praise for the losing quarterback be like, wow, this kid is the real deal and just electric.
All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cards and Content. Feels like it has been an eternity since we did one of these solo recordings here before a podcast guest. Thankfully, the National is unique for a lot of different reasons. One of them being the fact that you can, capture so much content in one place throughout the week. And thankfully, that is what we were able to do. So many incredible podcast guests that it just, it filled the schedule for quite some time. So many unique stories and good people we were able to have on. So shout out to everybody who has continued to listen and support, whether that is, again, listening to a podcast episode or leaving a review or a comment. Just know that we see them. And it means a lot to us. So shout out to everybody who has been along for the journey. I mean, we're over 30 episodes at this point, so ticking away here, but enjoying, continuing to build something that is completely different for us. This is not the going to the shows or trade nights, content we've been doing for so long. So again, appreciate everybody who's listened so far. We do have another guest today. First 3-time guest on the podcast, our guy Gabe Card Stacks. The NFL is coming. College football has started. It is, by the time this podcast goes live, it'll basically be every game from the NFL opening weekend, minus 1 or 2 Monday Night Football games. So we're going to get his opinion on the first weekend of college football, preview the NFL season. We'll talk a little bit there. Big fan of Gabe and what he's building, and want to get his opinion on college football because I think he's one of, if not the most informed person on the entire sport, the entire landscape of college football. So excited for that. We'll start real quick here with the what's on my mind. As you can tell, I'm probably a little under the weather at this point. I was supposed to go to Dallas, just didn't work out. I'm not sure if it's a little cold at this point or a little bit of exhaustion, but August was something crazy for us. July was crazy. August is crazy. It has been a really, really crazy last 60 days for us. I think the last time I was actually on this podcast with a little solo piece here, I talked about this, where in July it was like, 4th of July, Grove City Card Fest, Fanatics Fest, the National, and then, it's early August. And then you get into August and it's, the National for 7 full days, 18-hour days. And then you get into Shipshewana and you get into a shop remodel, and it just go. We took a little trip with my wife and son after the National, come back, you have Shipshewana, then you have the remodel. I'm looking forward to, obviously intended for Dallas to be this weekend. It's, in my opinion, one of the best card shows in the country. So intended to go there, but looking forward to slowing down a little bit more in September, enjoying the new shop remodel, enjoying some football, both college and professional, just getting some quiet time here. Still doing some cool stuff again in shop and, on our Whatnot stream, and plenty of cool content, but it has been go. And that is definitely the thing on my mind here, because we'll get into it with Gabe, but as someone who is 90%, if not more, football content, like football is such a big part of, my life, our brand. It's a lot for us. So excited for the NFL season to get started, and just, fantasy football, just everything around this time of year I'm looking forward to. So excited. Yeah, that's the word of the day. Excited. I think I've said it about 500 times so far. So I'm gonna go with that. That's what's on my mind. Excited to slow down for football, college and professional. For this, podcast guest here in a minute. It's been a lot, but excited is my what's on my mind. I mentioned slowing down and how crazy August was, but the end of the month was our shop remodel. So first and foremost, again, if you have not already seen those, we did put a lot of content out. Our Reese, Brian, the team, content team put a lot of time and ton of time and energy into those videos. There are 3 full-length vlogs on our YouTube channel. We've done this before with building a card shop when we built it the first time, and we remodeled it for one day in 2023. So we've done content like this before. These are videos we really enjoy making, really documenting the process. But it has been a lot of fun, basically doing a complete and total change of our card store. We'd had that design for quite a while. I mean, basically since we had opened, and it was really just everything is different about this. Obviously, if you guys watch the vlogs or you've been in local or you've seen the pictures, we went to more of a standing showcase throughout the middle of the show floor. This is something we've wanted to do for a while. We really saw it in Cards HQ when we were down at Jeff's shop for opening day. We've seen quite a few other shops go with this. The ability to put out that many cards in such a small square footage, just because you can stack them vertically is so much nicer. So I think we talked about it in the video, but I think we had about 500 cards out before in all of our showcases. This allows us to put out nearly 1,500 between 8 front and back showcases. They're built in sections, two and two, right by each other, but allows us to put out so much more volume. So that is something we wanted. And then again, a little bit more of a lot more of a high end look. I love the shadow box right when you walk in. Again, if you watch the vlog, you'll kind of understand what I'm referencing here. But this, high end shadow box looking display to the right as soon as you walk in, you can't miss it. It's got a lot of our wax on it. A specific section of the shop for TCG. This is a big thing for us. I talked about it, but TCG has been a big grower for us in the space. TCG non-sport, so you're talking Disney, your Marvel, your Pokemon, your Lorcana, Magic, One Piece. We've seen a massive rise in that in our business. So being able to have a designated spot in the shop for that has been huge. And then again, continuing to put out as many value boxes as possible. I think there's 54 or 56, maybe 64. I'd have to do the math. I think 56 is the number. I think it's 14 4 times. So I think it's 56 4-row boxes. And then I think there's 28 graded 2 rows. Again, the value box thing is a big deal for us. We had a lot of them before, wanted to make sure we could still have a bunch of them, but in a more defined space. Again, I think this one was really trying to upgrade it, make it look more modern, more high-end, increase offerings. That's a big thing for us, to just continuing to have variety as much as possible, and then really maximize the space, remove any dead space, again, the ability to stack cards vertically is such a big thing. We've got to use the space as best as possible, and I think that's what we did on this. So if you're ever in the area, come check it out. Would love for you guys to see it. It's, again, something we're really always trying to improve. I don't know many card stores that remodel as many times as it feels like we have, but we are really trying to get it right and trying to change and trying to improve as much as possible. It means so much to so many here. So if you've watched it, if you've seen the vlog, seen the content, you stopped in, appreciate that for sure. All right, we're gonna kick it over here. We've got again, very special guest, our first 3-time guest. I think Gabe's our only 2-time podcast guest now. He's gonna be a 3-time guest here. Again, just feels like a really fitting episode with one. At this point, by the time this episode drops, it'll have been 2 weekends of college football. But then you're right into the NFL season. So getting into it, this is what I'm looking forward to. So let's kick it over and see what our guy Gabe has to say. All right, guys, we are back with the one, the only, a friend of the podcast, a regular guest at this point, our good friend Gabe Card Stacks. My good friend, how are we doing today?
Great, man. I'm ready to talk some ball. and ready for college football season. I've been itching for the last few months since we last talked.
This is I was talking with some of my guys here. I'm like, I'm looking forward to this just to talk with somebody that just knows so much about the sport. I love college football, and I feel like I know it. And then I talk to you, and I'm like, I learned so much. So just being able to, get your opinions on, what is happening in college football, what you anticipate happening the rest of the year, just what you've seen so far, and then maybe even get in some of the NFL. Again, you watch these guys so closely from high school to college, and then they go to the pros. It's who are we going to see big things out of in 2025? So I'm excited to get into this. So as always, thank you for coming back on the pod.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm ready to go.
All right, so let's start with this. By the time this episode drops, we will be through week 2, but since we are recording it here on Friday, we've only got 1 week really of college football games. You had a bunch of big games on opening weekend. You had Ohio State, Texas, go Bucks. You had LSU, Clemson. You had Notre Dame, Miami. You had Alabama, Florida State. Some big matchups. A lot of these guys. We've been talking. A lot of people say that some of the QB stuff for the NFL peaks in the market before the season starts, and I would probably say the same thing is almost now true with college football quarterbacks. Some of these prices have been getting up here. A lot to unravel here, but let's start with like what you saw on opening weekend in college football.
Yeah, so I mean, I love college football week 1, especially with the card market, just because of the reactions one way or another, and it's just football is finally here.
Yep.
Unfortunately, all the big games, I picked the losers. I was on Texas. I thought they were going to handle Ohio State. I was on Clemson. I thought they were going to smoke LSU. And I was on Notre Dame. I didn't think it would be even close. So unfortunate, but I love it. I love the just craziness of college football on the market. I'm really just happy with just all the excitement of people excited about college football and the card market, and we're getting further and further away from like the stigma that it's college cards, college uniform, and people are understanding the value in all of it. So it's a big win for college football, a big win for cards.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We saw a lot of that at the National. We moved a massive DJ Lagway deal at the show. We moved a bunch of Drew Aller stuff. Cade Klubnik's been a guy. I've been a huge Cade Klubnik guy for a while. We sold some of his stuff. It seems like I think that's really one of the most fair points is that this is no longer, back when 21 Bowman U came out, these are college cards. Nobody collects this stuff. Nobody wants this. There's no real value here. And I think we're couple years into seeing that is anything but true. There's some big time college football sales. Now, before I get into some of the card prices, outside of some of the bigger games, some of the more obvious games of the weekend, give me some of the other games you kept your eye on, and then we can maybe take that into the card piece of this.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, there were a lot of good games, and especially in like the middle of the week, the Thursday, Friday leading up to it. Auburn Baylor, that was a great game. Jackson Arnold, is he good? Is he not? Finally gets a big win. Auburn too. The Georgia Tech Colorado game was also great, down to the wire. I've been a big believer in Georgia Tech for a while. 2 years ago, I was like, hey, give this team 2 to 3 years. They're going to be all right. So I was glad to see that win. Iowa State's been rolling with Rocco Beck, so I like that. The TCU UNC game with Josh Hoover and just Bill Belichick and all of that. That was fun for me to watch. I haven't been super high on UNC to begin with ever since the whole coaching move. And I've been a big buyer of Josh Hoover, so good to see him get some love and some buzz as well. So those are some of the bigger games and bigger teams. And then some of the sneakier ones that I've appreciated. A lot of West Coast guys, a lot of late games as well. There was Washington, Colorado State. I'm very high on Damon Williams. He's in Leaf. And Jonah Coleman had 177 and 2 touchdowns. Looks really good. Devin Dampier, Utah versus UCLA and Nico. That was another late game, but Devin Dampier, he's a 1,300 yard rusher from New Mexico. No one's talking about him. Everyone wants to talk about John Mateer, who I think is good, but no one's giving Devin Dampier and Utah some love, so you need to show them some love. And then Malik Washington, Maryland freshman, high 4-star guy, Big Ten freshman player of the week. So I'm interested to see what Maryland looks like in the coming weeks. Are they going to be good? Is he going to elevate them? I don't know, but those are some guys that I want to give some.
This is what makes this so fun is just your plethora of knowledge on some of these different guys here. So excited to get into this a little more. Let me ask you this, because you mentioned a guy like a Jackson Arnold. This is a guy who's been in a multitude of products. He is not a stranger to having autographs and having different stuff here. As you're a guy that's you invest in like players that you're looking to flip, like you're really really good at this. I know we talk a lot about it. When you're looking for, like, let's say a guy like a Jackson Arnold, because he has so many different cards, he's in multiple uniforms. What do you look for in a guy like that if you're looking to maybe flip them, as whether it's early in the season or later? I don't think it matters. But what are you what do you keep an eye on for in guys like that?
Yeah, so for that, and it's changed over the last few years for sure, but I think the direction that I'm on, and we're still so young in like this product life cycle. Like
Yep.
first it was unlicensed, and then this is again kind of like one of the first few years that we have product of guys returning in college before the season. So you kind of had the full off season to prospect yet again. But for me, I think I always lean on the Bowman first. I just think similar to baseball, it carries so much significant weight. It will be interesting with the new Bowman release in an Auburn jersey. I imagine he's in the set in the Auburn jersey. Then that brings the collectors back in on the Auburn side. So if they make, you've seen guys like Cam Morter or your Will Howard, when they make such a huge impact on their new team, at that point, it kind of doesn't matter. I feel like those are kind of the two where it's like you bring in the collectors and people are going to remember them as those new transfer players. So
Yep.
it'll be interesting to see, but I always default to the Bowman first. But then, I'm just a value guy in general. If I see, an Onyx or a Leaf or a Bowman Best auto at a good price where, like just his auto and ink in that price range is insane to me. I'm going to buy everything that I can. Then that's, when I also make a play there.
I love it. Yeah, the age-old debate, I mean, I feel like it really started, I feel like Bo Nix was one of the first guys I remember it really being a thing for, where it's like, which card will people end up wanting? It's going to be that first or the more impactful, jersey when they transfer, especially, transfer portal makes this even more complicated with, the first, non-first, you've got, Leaf, Panini's making a ton of these now, like, in the new age of football for Panini, a lot of their, Score and Luminance and Elite have NIL autos in them. All right, so after opening weekend of college football, as a guy that collects and invests and knows so much about college football, give me like 3 guys you are buying stock on card-wise after week 1. You feel like it's either a value, they're can't miss, you like the opportunity, you like the schedule. Give me 3 guys after 1 week of college football.
Okay. One, I'm gonna start with one of your guys, and I was high on him. I was excited about this transfer. C.J. Donaldson.
Dog.
Guy's just a bowling ball, and like 800 yards, 12 touchdowns every single year at West Virginia. Comes over to Ohio State. I wasn't a huge James Peoples guy myself. I'm like, I think C.J. Donaldson's just the guy, and he's gonna be the guy at the goal line. And I was buying and flipping his cards mid-game on ComC. Was buying his first for like $12, and they were selling for like 25 by the end of the game. So
wow,
I'm very interested to see what he does. And just Ohio State, that was an impressive win, Ryan. I thought Texas was going to roll over them. I didn't really believe in Ohio State. So for me, that was just an impressive win, and I'm curious to see how the season goes for Ohio State. So non-quarterback, little running back for you to start. Another guy that this is another guy where his prices were like in the dirt a year ago from now. Luke Altmaier, Illinois quarterback. In his Ole Miss jersey, he's going to be in the new Bowman 2025 based off those national packs. I remember his autos were like $1.99. Like nobody wanted these autos. Now they're probably at like $25 or so. Um, they return all five of their starters on the offensive line. Brett Bielema's got them in a really good spot. Have a pretty solid running back core, good wide receivers. Luke Altmaier, I think they can win 10 games. Their schedule
Wow.
a little iffy, but I'm high on Illinois once again. And then I think I'll go back to Washington with Damon Williams and Jonah Coleman. They're like, so here's the thing with Damon Williams, they lost their bowl game versus Louisville. It was the Sun Bowl in El Paso. But if you type in Damon Williams news on Google, you'll see Damon Williams dazzles in loss. Damon Williams show. The future of UW is bright. Like I've never seen a team lose and so much like praise for the losing quarterback be like, wow, this kid is the real deal and just electric. He's like 5'9", 180, 90 pounds maybe. He can do it all. So I believe in Washington, another team that I'm like, I think they're winning 10. They've got Oregon at home, and I think they've got Ohio State at home. Maybe you can clarify.
Yep, they do.
I really like UW. So those are like three guys that I'm like, might be buying a little bit more during the season.
Yeah, I think I gave you some love in one of the national vlogs we did. I think it was the very, very first deal I did at the national. I did a deal with our guy Curtis, and I bought an auto of Damon Williams from Leaf, number to like 3 or 6 or 9, one of the oddball Leaf numberings. And I gave you some love on that because Curtis brought it up. He's like, only you would know who this is. And I was like, well, technically, I can't take the credit for this. I bought this because my guy, Gabe told me about this guy. So I had bought it then. So I had been on him for a little while because you had talked about him. The Illinois one is definitely interesting because, I think Ohio State has to go to Illinois, to Wisconsin, and to Washington. So a couple sneaky, tougher road games. Like, those are not, what they would have been 10 years ago. I mean, I feel like Washington's probably come down. I mean, 10 years ago? Was that the Jake Locker days? I mean, probably a little even before that. I think Jake Locker was like, I think he was drafted in like 9 or 2011. I think he was Cam Newton's year. So we're probably closer to 15 years since the Jake Locker days. But again, those teams aren't, those teams I feel like are going to have bigger years in the Big Ten. I'm surprised and not surprised you didn't go all quarterback. I mean, there's so many guys in college football now. Again, it's just such a different landscape. I think that's one of the biggest things I would look at, and I would be curious your thoughts. But I think if you go back 4 years ago, it was really like top heavy. You were searching for like Stroud, Bryce Young, Caleb Williams. And now it's like guys like Luke Altmaier, Damon Williams. Like, I don't feel like those guys would have sold 4 years ago when this first started. Like, you weren't buying Ty Simpson autos. You weren't buying like the 24th best quarterback in college football. And like, it's easy now to say like Nussmeier, Lagway, Klubnik, Sellers, like, Aller. Like, it's pretty easy to get through like the top guys and like, yeah, these guys sell. But I feel like there's a lot more guys in college football now that sell that weren't selling. Like, not necessarily the names, more the position and the value. I feel like there's way more transactions, way more sales. And I feel like it's really good for the market because it's nice to rip a box and know that you don't have to rely on the top 1% of hits to actually be able to, make money back on a product.
Yeah, for sure. And we're even seeing like defensive players with value too. Like Dennis Sutton, he's an edge guy at Penn State. His cheapest auto, it's not even technically his first in the 2024 product. It's $25 for a base auto, and that's like an easy $5 find in a value bin somewhere because they're gonna see, oh, it's not a first, it's a defensive lineman. Who cares? And that's a $25 auto. Or like Ruben Bain right now had a great game versus Notre Dame, with Miami. And you even get defensive guys where historically, even in NFL, it's like those guys have not really had the market or respect that people would hope that they do.
Well, we did the stock up. I've got to ask the other end of this question. Some heartbreaking losses, some not so ideal performances. Who are 3 guys that you are abandoning ship on or selling? Maybe not all of it, maybe all of it. I'm curious here. Who are 3 guys that you're looking to sell after week 1?
First, Nico Iamaleava, Tennessee to UCLA, all the drama. Did not look. I mean, to be fair, UCLA does not have a great roster in my opinion, but they get punked at home versus Utah, and I just they're like so. There's Cade Klubnik. We've talked about this. I think offline where his prices were in the mud 2 years ago, and nobody like
Oh yeah.
there were lava autos for under $20 that we were missing out on, and now they've come back up. I kind of felt that way about Jackson Arnold, where I'm like, hey, his first autos are under $20. Might be like a time to buy in and just see if they can get this thing right at Auburn. Nico's still kind of high, but like there might be a point where Gabe Cardstacks buys back in where I'm like, okay, now like maybe he just needs another fresh start. I don't know, but I'm pretty much out on him for right now. Another guy, this has been a little bit of a hot take, but Ryan Williams. Just
You
with where his
love
price,
tweeting about Ryan Williams and how many
I
days it's been since Ryan Williams has a touchdown. I think it's been 350 days, I think is what I saw your tweet was, since Ryan Williams has had a FCS touchdown catch.
yeah. So for me, I'm just like Brian. Imagine this. Imagine Jeremiah Smith not having a 100-yard game since last September 22nd. Like that just like that would never happen, right? Like
Wouldn't.
his last like he's gone 4, 5, 6 games without a touchdown. Like I'm just like they're not in the same realm here. And then the prices were over $100. So it's like I just Jeremy Bernard Jeremy Bernard has been a way more productive receiver in my opinion in the last 6 games, and his autos were a fraction of the price. So Ryan Williams, I'm out. I don't like it. One more for you that I'm out on. I've never been a huge Lenora Sellers guy, to be honest, as well. Just from I don't think South Carolina is going to be the same team that they were last year. I just thought they lost like 6 guys in the top 150 on defense, and that was a huge piece of their success last year. Skill guys, I'm not in love with. So like Lenoris, I'm curious to see where his prices go once Bowman releases. He was one of the featured guys, but that one didn't love the performance versus Virginia Tech. But I could be bought back in. I could be persuaded real easily with another game.
Interesting. That's, I think, a guy that I'm actually higher on. I mean, they have, what's the edge name? Dylan Stewart.
Dylan Stewart, he'll also be in Bowman.
Yep. I mean, they've got some, it's a big-time offensive player, big-time defensive player. I mean, they're going to play in some big games just because of the conference they play in. Sellers is a guy that I think is going to be 1A or 1B in terms of best sellers in Bowman. I think Bryce Underwood will be up there. I mean, he's obviously, get some titles around, generational and, plays at one of the top 10 college, you could argue top 5 universities for, college football in the country at Michigan. Like, he, as much as it pains me to say it, like I have a feeling Bryce Underwood stuff will be through the roof. And again, I know we talked about this a little bit offline, but if some of the guys hadn't, didn't have other autos like in Leaf or in Panini or other Bowman stuff, I feel like some of them would have been a little bit higher. Sam Levitt's one that comes to mind for sure, just because he's got autos in other products. So again, I know we're kind of getting more into Bowman, but it's interesting you say Sellers. I honestly thought you might say Arch Manning. That's what I thought you might say. After 38 yards entering the fourth quarter, I have a feeling Ohio State will be one of the better defenses he faces all year. Texas is going to make a run. Like, you're not counting out Texas, and I would imagine most people think Texas is going to be pretty good this year. I think Texas is going to be pretty good this year, and we just beat them. I think Texas is one of the best teams in the country. To me, it would have been. I think I was expecting you to say like that. Maybe one of the top guys. The Nico one is super interesting. We were talking about that here. I mean, to be where he was a year ago when Bowman came out around Thanksgiving to where he is at now, what a change it has been in a year. It is. I don't know if I've seen a market like that fall that hard, that fast. I mean, it is crazy what his stuff was doing to, at Tennessee. They made the playoff. They obviously get beat at Ohio State. And to where he's at now, getting smacked around at home against Utah, man, what a difference a year makes.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And it's one of like the nice thing with just college football. Like, okay, maybe not all of us like love the transfer portal and where college football has gone, but like it can really help the trajectory of some of these cards or give them new life, like a Luke Altmaier, who
CJ
was one of
Donaldson.
the worst. Yeah, CJ Donaldson, and they can elevate themselves into relevancy again. And Nico is like one of the rare instances where just a big name goes somewhere else. Of course, it's kind of off field stuff that probably drove a lot of that, but yeah, not looking good for him.
Yeah, it's transfer portal definitely makes it interesting. I remember when Julian Fleming transferred out of Ohio State, and like when he goes to Penn State, you got a lot of cards you can't really move. Like not a lot of Buckeye fans are like, yeah, let me get this Penn State wide receiver auto now. Like it definitely makes things a little bit interesting. But it is like you said, it's a part of the game now and here to stay. Give me a couple names, two or three names. I don't want to say buying stock per se, but give me some of the sleeper guys that people should keep an eye on for games. Maybe don't have a lot of cards. Maybe have like one card or no cards. Could potentially be in Bowman. Maybe they're freshmen. Smaller schools. Give me a couple like sleeper names we could be looking for in some of these value boxes, or we'll have an opportunity to make a play on from the college card scene.
Yeah. So one guy that comes to mind, and I'm very cautiously optimistic, Bear Bachmeyer. He is the true freshman at BYU right now, and he had more touchdowns and incompletions last week. And I just think he's kind of a 6'2", 220 big mobile guy, something to watch out for. So he's got autos in Leaf, and it's in his high school jersey. He's a lefty. I just feel like he's someone that no one's gonna know. Maybe they, think his name is funny with Bear, but like, I just think someone would go through it in the value bin and dismiss it, and that's looking like a solid auto right now, probably in like the $20 to $30 range. One guy, freshman, who I hope gets cards at some point. This freshman out of Cal. Just look, another late night game, but this guy just like this is how you want all of your true like this is how Bryce Underwood should look, coming out of his first game. I'm just like this guy looks incredible, and he's getting all this hype right now. His PFF scores are number 1 in the country, so I hope this kid. I don't know how to say his name, but just JKS are his initials. I hope he gets cards, and I hope that that's a thing. Just okay, kind of like a crazy sleeper, right? Like this might not like it could be the same old team. It could be the same old team, but Virginia, Chandler Morris. So Virginia's
Wasn't
got a
he?
big
Wasn't
one.
was he the guy? No, that's Chandler Rogers was the guy at Cal, right?
Yes, Chandler Rogers was ULM, then he went to Blinn College, then he went to North Texas, then he goes to Cal, loses the job to Fernando Mendoza, who now is like getting some hype, also autos and Leaf. Nonetheless, Virginia. So Virginia, Chandler Morris, he was at TCU last year. He was in Bowman, but no autos. But he has a lot of autos in Leaf. His stuff is pretty cheap. I think Virginia did a great job in the transfer portal, but they get a big one versus NC State. We're gonna know by the time this thing airs, though. I need NC State to lose this one to make it sound decent, but I think Virginia could be a sneaky little 6, 7, 8 win team, a little feel good story. Not quite like your Indiana, but just like whoa, they kind of turned this thing around. I like Chandler Morris. That's my pick.
This is how you know this guy knows everything, man. He knew where Chandler Rogers, his entire college career path. That's insane. Like, I give you so much props for it. You said is it Mendoza, the kid at Cal?
Yeah,
I believe that.
now he's at Indiana.
Well, who's the kid at Cal that beat out my former Buckeye 5-star quarterback Devin Brown?
Oh, yeah. So that's this JKS kid.
Oh, that's the
From
Cal
Cal.
kid.
Yeah.
That's yeah. That's this is starting to
Yeah.
make a lot more
So
sense now.
this kid is electric lefty. He looks like I don't know, like an athletic Ben Roethlisberger. Kid's just massive. He can move, throw it on the run, got a rocket arm, and I doubt he's at Cal next year. I think this kid is gonna be able to pick his school in the portal next year. But doesn't have cards, but I need him to get cards. This is my ask for him to get cards.
Yeah, I definitely cannot pronounce his full name. That's crazy. I'm getting Tua vibes.
A little bit. Yep.
Yeah, a little lefty. Looks like it's someone that with Alabama's QB. I mean, getting beat week 1. I mean, is your guy Simpson, your guy Ty Simpson going to get a lot of leash there, or is he going to be off the? Are they going to be looking for a guy like this in the portal next year?
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. I think Ty was okay versus Florida State, but then they still have Keelan Russell, who was the
Yeah,
number 2 quarterback in the country. He's got
yeah.
that could be another little sneaky auto. I mean, he's super highly ranked, but people are gonna say, oh, score auto NIL high school. I've never heard of this kid, but Keelan Russell, I think his autos do a pretty good amount. So they've got him, and they've been pretty high on him. Was previously committed to SMU, but yeah, I think he could actually be pretty decent. So I'm hopeful Ty can get this thing right. Kalen DeBoer can get this thing right, and he's been catching some heat. And I know there's a standard at Alabama, but
Oh yeah.
I hope they can figure it out, and hope Ty Simpson can ball out because he's just a little crafty Manziel type guy. He's fun to watch.
Well, it's already been an eventful 1 week, so excited to do this here again soon in terms of the college football stuff. Real quick, give me a couple NFL guys that you loved in college. Love either the situation, some dark horse like guys that are gonna get some minutes. I know I ask you these guys for fantasy, but give me a couple like some sleeper guys here.
Yeah. So one that I like, and I've been high on him for a little bit, and then I think was it Amari Cooper just announced he's retiring today
Yep.
with the Raiders. So Jack Besh, former LSU, I think that he's got kind of that I don't know that Hunter Renfro in him. He could be that little just solid little receiver. So Jack Besh is one pick there, and then technically Arizona Wildcat, but not really Ja'Cory Krosky merits now with the Commanders because there were eligibility issues when he was at some school in Louisiana, then goes to New Mexico, transferred to Arizona, but they basically said he was ineligible. So now looks like he's maybe running back 2, maybe 1 with Eckler and all those guys, but I hope he can do well. I will claim him for Arizona, and I don't think he has any product, but hopefully we'll get some soon.
Awesome. Well, if you had to pick rookie of the years right now, who would your picks be?
You know what? So here's maybe a hot take. I like the Packers to win the Super Bowl this year.
Wow. I
Yeah.
I saw
Hmm.
three Jordan Love MVP picks today. Three of them. One of them was
Really?
on
Okay.
ESPN. I think it was on First Take. I don't know. I don't know what show it was on ESPN. I was passing by and it was like Ryan Clark, Stephen A. Smith, and someone else, and someone picked Joe Burrow, or it was like Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Jordan Love were the MVP picks. And then I saw something on Twitter. Jordan Love's the MVP pick. A lot of people really, really high on Jordan Love going into the year, but you like him to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I like everything about Green Bay this year. It might be a little crazy going against the AFC just in general, but I like Jordan Love and I like Green Bay. So with that, I'll go Matthew Golden,
Yep.
Rookie of the Year. I'm a big Savion guy as well,
Yep.
but Matthew Golden, I think, will be that wide receiver 1 for them. So I'll go there. If we're going defense, I'm going back to one of my favorites as well, Michael Williams. The guy he's like 6'5", 280. Like you gotta love the frame, and he's with the 49ers now, Michael Williams.
I love it. No Travis Hunter on offense or defense?
That's a fair question. I think we talked about this at Ship Shawana. Like I would have concerns about him at like corner. Like he's going up against like Jamar Chase and Justin Jeffrey. Like I don't know if you can do that on both sides and like maybe if he take over the number 2, but I have some concerns there. But like wide receiver, I do like Brian Thomas. I was very wrong on him. I thought he was kind of a one trick guy. Thought that was an awful first round pick and was just one of the best
Yep.
in the first round. But yeah, I don't know. Are we in on Trevor Lawrence? Are we out? Is he? There's a lot of questions there. I like Trevor Lawrence. I think he's a good guy, so I'm cheering for him. But yeah, I too much mystery.
Yeah, I'm a big T Law guy. I think they brought in Cohen from Tampa, didn't they?
Mm, yes, I
Yeah.
do like him too.
So I like Cohen. Like, you know, I like that team. I've been a big T Law believer for a long time. I feel like talent wise, he's got it. So I'm hoping they can put it together. Um, I love the golden pick, but I think a guy that's going to be up there with him competing is going to be a Mecca. I think the Bucks have a really good offense. I
Mm,
love a Mecca. He's a pros pro. Just being close to the Ohio State team here for so many years and just seeing it up close and personal. Like he's the real deal. He's he's a professional. Like reminds me a lot of like Olave. Olave was the same way. So excited to watch him. I just think he's going to come in and ball out pretty quickly. If he stays healthy, I mean, I got to watch Abdul Carter once a year, play against Ohio State. That dude is a freak. Reminds me a lot of like Parsons. I mean, I know Parsons just got traded to your Super Bowl pick, the Packers, but he's that dude's an animal. So it would be hard for me to, again, assuming he stays healthy, it would be hard for me to pick against Abdul Carter. I just think he's the real deal. But I'm excited for the offensive piece of this. Like, I don't think Cam Ward's that bad. I like Cam Ward, Ridley. Like, I think they've got a couple playmakers there. That division is just so, like, it could be, Trevor Lawrence. It could be CJ Stroud, who's won 2 playoff games. Like, it could be Cam Ward. Like, you just don't know. Like, that division seems like such a crapshoot. You just don't know. And then you get in, Genty's obviously a big prospect. Like, there's going to be a lot of people that like him. What's Travis Hunter going to do? You've got some really good. This reminds me, honestly, like of a lot of last year's class. You have really good wide receivers in this class. You've got Golden. You've got Hunter's going to play wide receiver. You've got Emeka. Like, there's even like deep sleeper guys. Like, again, like your guy Savion Williams, Torrey Horton. Like, we really get down the list. Like, how deep are we going? Like, I have a couple cards, cheaper cards of like Jalen Royals. Like, is that guy ever going to get shots with Mahomes? We talk about that a lot. Like, having a card of a guy that's going to be on a winning team and gets patches from Patrick Mahomes. Like, it's done Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy some good in the last couple years. So, yeah, I really like the receiver class this year. I think this class is going to be good. I know you've been a big believer in Cam Scatterbo for a while, so. Yeah, I'm excited for football to be back. I'm excited to sit here and chat with you about this. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's always fun chatting football with you and just talking ball.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we can do this again real soon and get a little mid-season update about what's going on in both the NFL and college football, and maybe we'll do something here as Bowman Chrome gets ready to release whenever that may be.
Yeah, let's do it. You know how to find me.
Appreciate you you coming on, my friend. Have a great rest of the week.
Yeah, thank you as well.